It's a fee of £59 million, plus a further £4.2 million in bonuses. So City were happy, I think, with the deal they got. They were looking around £59 million. Eintracht Frankfurt wanted around £69 million. But with those bonuses, I think all parties are relatively happy. He signed a 4.5-year deal, so it's half the deal that Erling Haaland's got. That's not a 10-year deal, but 4.5-year deal. So he's committed a good portion of his career to the champions. We see him there in the number 7 shirt as well. The Egyptian forward, inspired by Mohamed Salah, will now come up against him in a Manchester City shirt. So really exciting signing this. He's been brilliant for Eintracht Frankfurt this season. Finally, he's through the door. We look to see him in action soon.
Yeah, feels like the rebuild is certainly on. Kyle Walker's not going to be part of that, Mark. Is he a Milan player yet?
Not yet. Close but no cigar. We've seen, thanks to our colleague Sky in Italy, some pictures of him arriving at the airport, just waving to a few of the press that had gathered by the airport to see him. You can see a few Milan fans as well. That's after Manchester City accepted Milan's formal offer of a loan for the rest of this season. And Sky in Italy also saying that this potentially could be converted into a permanent deal for around €5 million. He's having his medical. That was him going off to have his medical, which we understand was happening this afternoon. He'll then head to Casa Milan, which is where all the formal documentation gets signed, and he will be a Milan player. So you can see he's in Italy. Only a matter of time now before this one gets confirmed. And the 34-year-old, who won everything with Manchester City, is saying goodbye to the Etihad.
Yeah, I'm sure City will miss him. He's been a great servant. So, Walker gone, James, or on his way out. 2 defenders in and a forward. Are City going to strengthen in midfield?
Well, the rebuild continues, and what is fascinating is City have spent more in this January window than all 20 Premier League clubs did in the last January window, which shows you how quiet it was last January. It shows you how busy City are being in this transfer window. They could be adding more signings. We know that number 6 position, Rodri out for probably the rest of the season. They're looking at whether or not they can strengthen in that area. So one player that's been spoken about is Douglas Luiz. It looks like he may leave Juventus in some capacity in this transfer window. He only joined from Villa in the summer, but it looks like he could leave potentially on loan to a club he was at before in the form of Manchester City. It's no formality they do any more business. I think they've done the bulk of their work, but I think if they could get in a midfielder, potentially a left-back, we were speaking about Cambiasso last week as well, they'll be really pleased. But because of the form, because of the injuries, it's happening now. They've acted really quickly.
Yeah, you say Luiz was a City player, wasn't he? Never played, was out on loan all the time. Mark, I want to talk Nottingham Forest. We were saying yesterday they wanted Johan Wissa. What are the developments today?
Yeah, well, the offer, which we understand to be worth less than £22 million, has been rejected out of hand by Brentford. No question about Wissa's quality. Thomas Frank has spoke glowingly about him over the course of the last few weeks. I was at St Mary's a few weeks ago to watch Brentford put 5 past Southampton. And the one thing that I was hugely impressed with was his relationship and his partnership with Brian Mbeumo. Together, between them, 31 goal involvements this season. And that man, Johan Wissa, you can see on your screen, is their top Premier League goal scorer. More goals in the Premier League than Ivan Toney, which gives you an indication as to just how important he is. One other interesting fact, which I really like, according to Y-Scout data, which is a scouting system that most Premier League clubs use, his goals per minute ratio is better than Cole Palmer's. Which shows you about just how good he has been, how effective he is. And as I say, he's a huge part of that front three at Brentford that's been so good this season. Well, one interesting thing about this, and perhaps why we're seeing a little bit of movement and his name being linked with potentially leaving Brentford, he's into the last 18 months of his current deal. So in the summer, he'll be down to 12 months. And you know the price starts to go a bit low there. And that's where Brentford may be saying, look, do we give him a new contract? Or do we capitalise on selling him off the back of what has been an incredible season so far? However, he's a big part of Thomas Frank's plans. And Thomas Frank has said quite consistently, we will not sell him. Brian Mbeumo, we will not sell him. These players are key for us this season, and under no circumstances do we want to sell them. But every player has a price.
Indeed. So you can see why Nottingham Forest are interested in him. And the Forest manager was also asked about interest in Matheus Cunha. This is what he had to say this afternoon.
I don't know anything about that. How can I comment about that? I'm so sorry to disappoint you. The ambition is not measured by that. The ambition is the way we operate, the way we want to improve ourselves as a team. Because if we improve as a team, the club will be better to the challenge that we have ahead of us. The ambition is measured, but how we are doing and what we want to achieve.